So, hello there, guys. How are you all doing? So, it is after many days that I'm coming live again. Actually, what happened is that I was a little bit busy with some internal works. That's why I could not study at all for the last few days. But yeah, today, and also I am kind of sick. Actually, uh, what happened? So, hello there, guys. Oh shit! Yeah. So I am also kind of sick. That's why I have a great headache. Anyways, I have a test tomorrow for my ICT exam, for my ICT subject. That is basically IT subject. And uh, let me say it in the chat. So we actually have one test tomorrow that we will need to give. And I have not studied. I have not opened the book actually. That's why today, what we will need to do is we will need to study a lot in order to comply, in order to cope up with what the teacher have done through already. If I tried it 175 to 295, so that would be around 100 pages. But actually, I don't need to read that many pages as our teacher has already completed only about 10 pages. Not 10 pages, maybe around 20 pages at best. So that's what I'm going to do now. I will try to complete as much as possible. And as I am kind of a IT guy, so I think it is possible to finish in time. I plan to finish the job. I plan to finish the study within 2 hours at most. ICT exam prep. I plan that I would be able to finish the job within 120 minutes because I am kind of sick. I have the flu. That's why I have a mild headache. That's why I have my coffee here, black coffee. The one thing I like about IT is that I already know kind of all most of the things. That's why I need not put that much effort into it. Okay, so I am kind of ready. So we will start the study session now. I will reset the timer. Uh, so basically, we are studying number systems today. This include binary system, hexadecimal, and the octal system. These systems are pretty basic knowledge actually. I had seen one video tutorial on YouTube related to this, so I think I will have a pretty good time understanding it. Anyway, so I won't waste much time. I will dive right into the work. and I am also sharing some of the videos that I see, that I watch for reference. So also one thing that I want to share is that we have one we have our science fair coming soon. So maybe tomorrow I will have one a special session where a special live stream where I will prepare for the ICT for the science fair, and I hope that that would be a pretty interesting session because I will be building up quite a few things for ICT for the science fair. Yes, there was time ago. Yes, I wish I had memories of everything we've been through. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, Vanshika is asking which grade IT test. Actually, it is IT test for grade 11 for my college. It's a pretty basic, sorry, it's a pretty basic IT test, nothing special, only the number system it is. For now, as our school is just starting, we are more like in the theory part of the ICT, more than the other coding and stuff, programming and stuff. That's why it's kind of boring also nowadays. For now, it's quite boring, the ICT subject. You know what? I should first make a list of the subjects that I need to study, the topics that I need to study today. Otherwise, I will lose record of what I'm doing. I will open up Obsidian Note real quick. Okay, so I am done with the mental framework for what I need to do today. I have this cool Kanban style task list. Why isn't it working? For the priority, we have binary basics that we will be doing today. Also, we have binary arithmetics, which include binary addition and subtraction. And inside this, we have the ones complement and twos complements, number system basics, interconversion between number systems, and BCD and code. These are codes, not it's nothing fancy. Boolean algebra. Yeah, so that's quite the thing that we'll be doing today. So first, I'm starting with the number system, binary and number system basics. Binary basics. Yeah. So first of all, we are going to do the number system. That's what I will be doing now. I will be Here is a quick note, uh, if anyone is watching, that the Egyptians were the first to discover the number system, the writing system in general. That's a nice fact to know. Here is another quick note that geometry was first developed in Egypt, and arithmetic and astronomy was developed in Babylonia, uh, which is the Babylon, if you know what it is. The modern number system is quite developed in comparison to the Egyptian and the Babylonian systems, because if you see, let me show you guys. It's quite hard to understand the Egyptian number system and the Babylonian one. So these were literally the digits. We have the word from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, including 0. They had these special digits, characters, which they used as numbers. So the first one is 1, 10, 100, 1000. And one thing is that they use the decimal system, which is really cool, because the decimal system is the one that we use today. And decimal system is nothing but a base 10 number system, which is the numbers are base 10, multiples of 10 actually. But the problem with the Egyptian one is that if, for example, someone was to write, let's say 30, so what they would need to do is they need to repeat this symbol for 10 three times. So that will be this three of this, which means 30, and which is really cryptic to understand. When as they did not have zero, they could not like yeah, use zero. That's why they could not actually make the proper use of the system, number system. I would turn off the AC because it's cold in here. Now, in comparison to the Egyptians, the Babylonian number system is kind of developed, I would say, because they had zero. However, they did not use the decimal system. They used the sexagesimal system, which is they did not use multiples of 10, but their number system was actually the multiple of 60, which is a pretty weird choice if you think about it. But the main takeaway here is that the Egyptian number system was the first to be invented, and it was known as hieroglyphics, which is quite a common fact. And the Babylonian number system was known as sexagesimal. In the Egyptians' number system, they used a multiple of 10, and in Babylonians, they used a multiple of 60, which I found really weird because why the heck would someone choose 60 as their base for counting numbers? Oh, and also one thing is that both the Egyptians and the Babylonians, they did not have the concept of the number zero. And if you think about it, you don't need to think about it, but the number zero itself is a really powerful addition to mathematics because zero helped us. I don't know how it helped, but it helped us. And the Egyptians and the Babylonians, they did not know how to use zero. Also, there is the Greek method, Romanian method, Maya numbers method, and none of these actually have zeros, and that's really awkward. That's really astonishing to find because if you think about my timer is messed up. If you think about it, there was no necessity of using zero at that time because most of the use case of numbers in that era was to just count the sheeps, the count the number of cattle they had, and they did not need a special number to count that I had no cattle. Then they just did not write it down. So that's one logic behind not developing the number zero in the prehistoric times. But the number zero was actually developed by Aryabhatta from India, which is really cool because he's Indian. And the most confusing number system in here that I found is the Greek one. They literally did not have any special digit or special character for expressing their numbers. They literally used just the Greek letters they had, the alpha, beta, gamma ones, and they used it to express numbers, which is really confusing if you think about it. Because, for example, in our notebooks, the numbers have their own characters, so it is quite easy to understand. But if there was the numbers did not have their own characters, then it would be really hard to determine to differentiate the numbers from the letters. It's a quite odd choice, I'd say. Skill issue. And guys, I'm back with some weird facts again. So the modern number system that we use is the contribution of Indian system. It is a combination of contribution between the Indians and the Arabs. And by the modern number system, I mean the decimal modern number system, zero, the containing the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which use base 10. And this was actually first adopted in India in around 600 AD, and later on, as the Indians and the Arabs had a connection in terms of trade and merchandise, so the Arabs first learned the number system from the Indians, and later they developed more concepts using that number system. And and a note beneath is that the word zero, it comes from the Latin word "zepiro", and the Latin word comes from the word "sephir", "sifr" in Arabic, and this "sifr" was actually coming from Hindu. So the takeaway is that the modern number system is called the Hindu Arabic numerals. Hindu Arabic numerals, because it was the Indians, also known as Hinds, who first developed the modern number system, and it was later on not influenced, developed by the Arabs, which is really cool if you think about it, because we don't, in our day-to-day life, we don't really think that the Indians and Arabs were educated. We only, when we talk about educated and civilized nations, we think about the Western world and Europe and all. But knowing that the number system itself comes from India is a really cool fact. And also, one cool fact that I learned recently is that the Christian rulers, there was no zero before the Indians invented it, and the Christian kings, they tried to suppress the use of the digit zero, the number zero, because they thought that the digit zero was a form of Satan, if we talk in terms of Christians, which is really weird, because actually, it makes sense, because lack of existence is sometimes associated with bad, and bad in that times were shaitan, devil. Anyway, so a quick fact: the Christian kings did not want to use the letter zero, the number zero, because they thought it was associated with the devil himself. Useless fact, but anyways. I am thinking that I should include one notes section in my life where I will take the notes of what I am learning, and that would be really handy if anyone wants to see what I'm studying, and also if anyone wants my notes. Chat, how do you guys think that you guys need the note from me? If you guys tell that you guys need the notes, then I will share the notes. Otherwise, I will just read by myself. Guys, I think I found a really cool thing is that how do computers store floating point numbers? Um, it's a quite fascinating subject. Actually, I find it. They do not represent like this. This is the normal decimal system, but computers, what they do is they take all the numbers on the left hand side of the decimal. Sorry, what what am I saying? So this point in mathematical terms is called the radix point or decimal point, and at the time of expressing the binary of this floating point or decimal point number or fraction point, they take this number and they push it to the right side, and that gives us 0.2715625. This 2715625 is stored here in here, as you can see, and the exponent value, which will come minus 2 into 10 to the power minus 2, that is stored in the first 8 bits. Sorry, they're using 5 bits, but normally they use 32-bit processors, so there is 8 bits for the for the what do you call, for the exponent, and 23 bits for the fraction or the mantissa point, fraction points, and 1 bit for the sign bit that is used for the sign bit. It's quite a fascinating way that they found, and that's what I like about humans. They take whatever they have in their hands and they solve new problems with whatever tools they have. They do not complain, and that is a great life lesson, is that you need to accept the things that happens. You cannot always complain. You just need to accept the flaws in the system and try to go with the flow and solve the problems and not just complain.
Computers to be entirely accurate and precise with numbers. You know, you grow up with calculators, you expect that if you type in 0.1 plus 0.2, you expect it to come out to 0.3. And sooner or later, every programmer, as they're learning, tries something like that, and they type it into a programming language. Something like 0.1 plus 0.2, and they will hit enter, and what the computer will give them is something like 0.300000001. And at that point, they will have started to learn about floating point numbers, and they will be starting to tear their hair out. Floating point numbers are essentially scientific notation. So let's, just for the uninitiated, let's say you're an astrophysicist and you have, the speed of light, which is this enormous number with 8 zeros after it, and you want to multiply it by a tiny distance. It doesn't really matter what we're measuring here, there's just big number, small number. Let's say 0.00015. Let's say you want to multiply these two together. I may have made this a bit deliberately easy. You could try and do some really complicated maths and work it all out, but you don't need to, because in scientific notation, this is 3 times 10 to the 8. And this one is 1.5 times 10 to the minus 7. So you don't need to do anything particularly complicated to multiply these two together. All you have to do is multiply these, which is 4.5, and then add these exponents together here. So 8 add minus 7, 8 minus 7, means that's 1. So we're looking for 4.5 times 10 to the 1, or 4.5 times 10, or 45. Brilliant. That's much easier than trying to actually handle large numbers. And it also brings us to the concept of significant figures, because the speed of light isn't exactly 3 times 10 to the 8, it's 2.997 something. And there's a lot of digits on the end of there which don't really matter for everyday calculations. We round it up, we say it's 3 times 10 to the 8. Or maybe if we're being precise, we say it's 2.997 times 10 to the 8. But we don't really work it all out. But you don't need to. Let's say 0.0000015. Let's say you want to multiply these two together. I may have made this a bit deliberately easy. You could try.
One thing that I wanted to take a note here is that the thing that they showed in the beginning of the video, which is 0.2 into 0.3, this is a well-known fact among us programmers. Let me show you in Python actually. If you try to add 0.1 and 0.2, then what will happen is that yeah, I had to do some errands real quick. Anyway, so we will continue with the video.
Try and do some really complicated maths and work it all out. But you don't need to, because in scientific notation, this is 3 times 10 to the 8. And this one is 1.5 times 10 to the minus 7. So you don't need to do anything particularly complicated to multiply these two together. All you have to do is multiply these, which is 4.5, and then add these exponents together here. So 8 add minus 7, 8 minus 7 means that's 1. So we're looking for 4.5 times 10 to the 1, or 4.5 times 10, or 45. Brilliant. That's much easier than trying to actually handle large numbers. And it also brings us to the concept of significant figures, because the speed of light isn't exactly 3 times 10 to the 8, it's 2.997 something. And there's a lot of digits on the end of there which don't really matter for everyday calculations. We round it up, we say it's 3 times 10 to the 8. Or maybe if we're being precise, we say it's 2.997 times 10 to the 8. But we don't really worry about the numbers beyond that. Hold that thought, so we'll come back to significant digits later. The two main advantages to floating point are speed and efficiency. Speed, because floating point has been built over many, many years. It is now lightning fast for computers to deal with. And efficiency, because it can deal with really big numbers, massive numbers, size of the universe numbers, and really small numbers, size of an atom numbers, without needing enormous amounts of space. If you had a format that needed to include the size of the universe and the size of an atom, you'd need so many zeros stored on both ends, or you'd need something particularly complicated for a computer to work out, that it would be either really inefficient, storing one number as a megabyte, or you would need something that would be really fiddly for a computer to work out as it tries to place all the zeros and the numbers everywhere. Let's talk about base 10. Let's talk about us, people. Let's talk about lights being on all of a sudden. That's weird. In base 10, in our normal human numbers, so 10 digits, base 10, we have hundreds, tens and units. You learn that in primary school. And over here, you have tenths, hundredths and thousandths. So if you want to say 1/10 in decimal, you say 0.1. And that's normal and that's natural. Base 2, on the other hand, binary, computers, they don't do that. Because what they see are 4s, 2s and 1s. And then over here, halves, quarters, eighths and sixteenths. There's no 0.1 in there. In fact, 0.1 in binary is 0.00011. And that 0011 is recurring. It's actually 0.0001100110011 all the way to infinity, which is interesting because 32-bit computers, the ones we generally use, we've moved a bit on now, 32-bit computers only say 1/10 in decimal, you say 0.1. And that's normal and that's natural. Base 2, on the other hand, binary, computers, they don't do that because what they see are 4s, 2s and 1s. And then over here, halves, quarters, eighths and sixteenths. There's no 0.1 in there. In fact, 0.1 in binary is 0.00011. And that 0011 is recurring. It's actually 0.0001100110011 all the way to infinity, which is interesting because 32-bit computers, the ones we generally use, we've moved a bit on now, 32-bit computers only store 23 significant digits. They also store where the decimal point is. They basically do scientific notation in base 2. That's what floating point is. So they say, all right, so we've got this long binary number times 2 is 0.00011. And that 0011, base 10 in our normal human numbers, so 10 digits, base 10, we have hundreds, tens and units. You learn that in primary school. And over here, you have tenths, hundredths and thousandths. So if you want to say 1/10 in decimal, you say 0.1. And that's normal and that's natural. Base 2, on the other hand, binary, computers, they don't do that because what they see are 4s, 2s and 1s. And then over here, halves, quarters, eighths and sixteenths. There's no 0.1 in there. In fact, 0.1 in binary is 0.00011. And that 0011 is recurring. It's actually 0.0001100110011 all the way to infinity, which is interesting because 32-bit computers, you know, the ones we generally use, we moved a bit on now, 32-bit computers only store 23 significant digits. They also store where the decimal point is. They basically do scientific notation in base 2. That's what floating point is. So they say, oh right, so we've got this long binary number times 2 to the something. And that's a problem, because what it loses is precision. It doesn't understand recursion. And there's an analogy for that. In base 10, if you try and write a third as a decimal, we go hundreds, tens, units, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and then we try and do this and we end up with 0.3333333 recurring. Now imagine you don't understand recurring numbers, like a computer, like scientific notation does. If you take away that recursion, like floating point arithmetic doesn't. So this is where we bring everything together. If you're in base 10, if you're in decimal, let's say you have 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. As humans, we go, well, that's 0.3 recurring, plus 0.3 recurring, plus 0.3 recurring, which is 1. But say you're a computer and you don't understand recursion, because floating point math is essentially significant figures. So a computer would look at that and go 0.3333333 plus 333 plus 3, and it will say, well, a third plus a third plus a third, total it to 0.9999999. Then after a while, you'll stop because you've run out of digits. What you've just got there is a floating point rounding error. Let's take that into base 2. Let's do 1/10 plus 2/10, which is 0.00011001100110011. Oh, we've run out of digits. Because floating point arithmetic on 32-bit computers only stores 23 digits. And then you try and add 2/10, which is 0.0001100110011. I'm not going to try and do that maths, because it's going to take ages. But what happens is exactly the same as back here. After 23 digits in 32-bit arithmetic, I think you've got 56 on 64-bit computers. It cuts. It doesn't understand recurring, which means that floating point looks at 1/10 plus 2/10, what you just typed in, 0.1 plus 0.2 in decimal, and it says that 1/10 plus 2/10 does not quite equal 3/10, because to its mind, it doesn't. For nearly all cases, it is close enough. In most cases, you don't need more than 23 binary digits of precision. If you do, you go to 64-bit. If you are doing a 3D game and you need to know where to point something on the screen, it doesn't matter if it's 100,000th of a pixel out, because it'll be in the right place. And if you're doing big calculations, it doesn't matter if a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction, something smaller than a molecule, is out, because it'll look more or less right. Right beyond any precision or tolerance that the real world could possibly manage. But it means that if you're dealing with currency and you say that you are adding 10 pence or 0.1 pounds to 20 pence, and every programmer hits this sooner or later, we just go like that, that's easy. A computer will come back and say, well, that's actually that many pence. And in these particular human things, we will notice the error, because suddenly to us, it's very, very obvious. That's the problem with floating point. To fix that, by the way, if you're doing currency, you either use a decimal type in more advanced programming languages, or you just store everything as an integer in terms of pence or cents or whatever, and then divide by 100 at the end. Floating point is something that really, really confuses a lot of people. It's tough to get your head around until you realise that it is just scientific notation. It's the same thing that we learned in maths class at school, only in base 2. It's you know, halves and quarters and eighths. And once you crack that, once you realise that it's storing a set length of number and then working out where the decimal point could be, and it's just significant figures, it starts to become a lot easier. And you start to realise, oh, that's why if I type 0.1 plus 0.2, what I get isn't 0.3.
Whether it's in light
Okay, guys, so that was a really interesting video from Computer File. Um, I really like that channel, the Computer File channel, because it is quite informative and they make learning fun. And there are a couple of channels, YouTube channels that I find interesting. The Computer File, then we have TEDx Talks, and then we have more channels like Minute Physics, Floating Head Physics, then Be Smart. Actually, I plan to make one list of all the cool channels and share it in the internet sometime, because learning should never be something that you hate. Learning is the basis of humanity. Knowledge is the basis of civilization. So if you abandon knowledge, then what are you, even a human? Because knowledge is the basis and the root of any civilized nation, and it is the lack of knowledge that actually drives the destruction of nations. And what the problem with the current education system is that they don't teach you knowledge, they don't tell you to understand, they don't tell you to gain knowledge, they tell you to memorize the knowledge. But knowledge is not something that you can memorize, it is something that you can gain, it is something that you can store. And the main focus of education was to drive our intuition, our creativity. But what I find, alas, is that our education system is failing us in that manner. They are destroying our creativity and all, and they just want us to do good in exams, which is really pathetic. I don't really think, and that's why I hate the meritocracy system of government, the merit-based system, because mm, uh, uh, because one an exam can only tell you how good of a memorizer, how good a person can memorize, but it cannot tell you how creative a person is in real life. Heck, I don't even know why I'm talking about this. This is not even the topic of this live stream, but I am just really pissed about the education system. And sometimes the people, the head, they want to change this system and they want to make the education system more intuitive for the students. But it is the masses, it is the whole, it is the parents and all that they are holding back. Because recently you see, in Bangladesh they tried to change, in my country they tried to change the education system. They tried to change they tried to modernize the education system by changing the textbooks into a more creative form of learning, rather than the memorization that had been prevailing for the last 50 years. But recently the people are starting debates and they are starting to protest against this modern system of education, which I find really really bad and really really disgusting and disappointing. Because education is not something that you should have nightmares about. Education is something that should drive our creativity. Anyway, so we will continue with the binary system, the number system, because we have a test tomorrow. And sometimes you need to stop just complaining and accept the reality. You don't live in a perfect world, you are not perfect yourself, so who is to blame? So currently my live stream is at 90 views, which is a really great achievement, because it was until last 2 weeks. It was just last week that I was getting only 20 views, but all on a sudden I am getting, but all on a second, all on a sudden I'm getting around 90 and 90, 60 to 90 views. Very soon I will surpass the 100 mark. I need to share it up on Instagram, this achievement of 90 views, because why not? And having 90 views is something that I never expected. This is quite fascinating for me and a great achievement. Maybe, inshallah, we will reach, by the end of the stream, we will reach the 100 mark, the 100 views mark. We just only need nine more views to reach that. Um, Inshallah, we will reach it. It is a tipping point, it is a milestone for my online influencer era, getting 90 views. Quite fascinating if you think about it. And if you think about it, why the hell are 90 people even watching my live? I am just a nobody, a nerd in someone's, in some, by some, reading by myself, and I don't really think that people were supposed to find to watch me. Heck, I am not even that handsome. I am just a regular Indian guy. Some of the in live study sessions, some of the guys, they're really handsome. That's why they're getting the views. But I am just, yeah. Let's not drag it that far, and let's not have an existential crisis now. Okay, so maybe I am done with the basics of number system, and now I will go for binary arithmetics. And to recap uh, the 5 pages that I've read, because why not? Um, the Egyptian number system was the first number system to be developed, and it was a non-position. And there are two types of number systems: non-positional and positional. In non-positional number systems, there is no differentiation between where the number is sitting. For example, the 9 will always be 9 no matter its position, and that is the ancient form of number system, because it did not help, and you could not do any kind of arithmetics, or you could not do anything with the non-positional number system. And the examples of non-positional number system are the hieroglyphics by the Egyptians, the Romanian method, Greek method, Babylonian method. And the other form of number system is the positional number system, which is the modern number system. And the positional number system was first developed in India, so it is kind of known as the Indian number system. But as the Arabs, they were also engaged in developing the concepts of the number system, the modern number system. So the modern number system that we use with 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, it is known as the Hindu Arabic numerals. And before the Hindu Arabic numerals, there was no official use of the number 0. 0 was first adopted and invented by Brahmagupta and Aryabhatta in India, and it was the first time 0 was used as a number. And in the modern system, in the current world, there are four prominent number systems, namely the binary number system, the octal number system, decimal number system, and hexadecimal number system. But before that, I want to say that the normal number system that we use on our day-to-day lives is a decimal number system, which is nothing but a base of 10. Uh, you can search it up on Google if you don't know what I'm talking about. Is a base 10 number system, and there's the decimal number system, there's the normal one that we use as humans. And the other three prominent number systems are binary number system. And binary is the one that the computers use to process numbers and arithmetics. Binary has a base of 2. Then we have octal number system, which uses a base of 8. And octal number systems are prominently used by Unix operating systems. For example, you have Linux, OpenBSD, and stuff like that. And the last one is the less used one, the least used one, is the hexadecimal number system. And the hexadecimal number system is used to represent the memory locations in our CPUs and computers. So to recap, the decimal number system is the normal number system used by humans with a base of 10. Binary number system has a base of 2, and it is used by computers for processing all types of numbers and all, and for the internal workings. Then we have the octal number system, which uses a base of 8. And the octal number system is used, where was it used? Is extensively used in the Unix operating system like OpenBSD and Linux. And the last one, the hexadecimal, it uses a base of 16, and hexadecimal is used to identify the memory location in our computers. Now we will go towards the binary conversion. Interconversion from binary to interconversion between the number systems. That is, we will learn about the interconversion between binary and decimal first. First we'll learn about decimal to binary, decimal to octal, decimal to hexadecimal, and then we will do the reverse, which is binary to decimal, octal to decimal, and hexadecimal to octal. So we are done with the basics of number system, binary, and Now we will continue with the interconversion, and also we're done with the number system basics. Now we are learning about interconversion between number systems, and the interconversion between number system is a topic that I'm familiar with, so it will not take that much time. Okay, so someone is asking me why I am on my phone. I was. There is no explanatory explanation. There is no viable explanation that I can give. I am just clumsy. I am really running out of time, so I will be quick. I will be fastening up. So fasten your So fasten your seatbelts because we are going to rush the study. If you know the basics about the one thing is that if you know the basics of how the internals of the number system is working, it is quite easy to understand the conversions. Yeah, welcome to the stream, Rakin. um, I'm not actually studying this A and B. I'm just studying for the C and D, and B I will give from my common sense. We are done from learning the interconversion between decimal and binary. Now we will go on decimal and octal. All of these are pretty similar, so this won't take much time. And I would want to take a break and rejoice the fact that my stream has got 110 views already, which is a great uh, achievement. And thank you all for watching a nerd study. Sit there and study. Uh, it means a lot to me actually to get 100 views. We are down to only 25 minutes, so I need to speed things up. I won't be able to read the book at all. Yes. Shit, 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 shit. I'm done from decimal to octal interconversion. Interconversion. I'm done with decimal to octal. So now we will go to hexadecimal. I already know these subjects, these topics. So I'm just revising now. Shit, guys. I think I have a fever. I think I am developing a fever now because of my flu, which really sucks. Okay, so I'm done with the interconversion between decimal. Where is the note? Okay, so I'm done with decimal to other systems. So I'm done with interconversion between decimal to other systems. Now I will continue for binary to other systems, which is a new topic for me. What the hell? Chat, what is this? Who made this? I'm done with the binary to decimal one. Now binary to octal. Okay, so this is a really cheap way and a shortcut way to do the do the conversion is that uh, we transform from binary to decimal first, and then we transfer decimal to octal, which is a really lazy way to do it. But if I remember correctly, my teacher taught me an easier way to do it. I'm trying to show you guys one thing, but I cannot seem to find how to use this tool. At the time of need, we nothing seems to work. In times of urgency, why is it not working? Dang. Canvas, free canvas. Dang. You know what? Let me leave it because I am really out of time. No time to show you guys. Okay, so guys, I'm done with the binary conversion to other ones. The easy way to deal with it is that we first transform that binary number to the decimal system, and from the decimal system we transform it to the hexadecimal or the octal system, whichever system they're asking for. So there are two steps actually. First we need to convert the binary to a decimal, and then we convert decimal to the required asked number system. I am guessing that moving forward, all of the number systems will use the same format. Guys, I think my fever is getting worse. My body temperature is really high now. I can feel it myself. Mhm.
Welcome to Eng Classes YouTube channel. In this video, we'll consider conversions from decimal fractions to binary. To understand the concept, what we do is we'll consider an example. We'll consider a decimal fraction, 21.1. So let this be an example. I want to convert this decimal fraction into its equivalent binary number. So first I'll write the number 21.1. So first I'll consider only the integer part, and first I'll find its binary equivalent. Then I'll go for the fractional number. So 21, if I want to convert this to its binary equivalent, so I'll divide this number successively by 2. So I have to divide this by 10. The quotient must be 10. 10 2s are 20, and the remainder is 1. So I'll divide 10 by 2. So its quotient must be 5, and 5 2s are 10, and the remainder is 0. And again I'll divide 5 by 2. The quotient must be 2. 2 2s are 4.
Okay, so one of my friend is asking me to teach them. Actually, my friend, from January, from January, I will start my own HSC batch session. I will make really short tutorials on the topics, on the various topics on our curriculum, on our textbooks. For example, now that I know how to convert from binary, I will make a short YouTube video, YouTube tutorial on how to do it and teach people how to do it. Uh, it's from January. It is not now. From January, I will start that. I have a plan for that. From January, I will start the online school, Rafio's school, you can say.
And the remainder is 1. Next I'll divide 2 by 2. 2 ones are, quotient must be 1. 1 2s are 2, and the remainder is 0. So this is the binary equivalent of 21, which is equal to 1 0 1 0 1. Next is I'll consider the number zero point 0.1. So I'll consider the fractional part. I'll consider zero point 0.1. I'll multiply this successively by 2 till the fractional part becomes 0, or if we feel that the pattern is endless. So we'll try to understand that. So I'll multiply zero point 0.1 into 2, so the result is zero point 0.2. For such a number I look for integers, so whatever it is, whether it is 0 or 1, so that must be its binary equivalent. So in this case zero point 0.2, the integer is 0. I'll write 0 here. So next I'll take up zero point 0.2 and I'll multiply this by 2. So zero point 0.2 into 2, it turns out to be zero point 0.4, and again the integer part is 0. So I'll write up the integer, I'll write its binary equivalent, that is 0. So next I'll take up zero point 0.4 and I multiply this by 2. Zero point 0.4 into 2 is zero point 0.8, and I look for integer part, so that will be the binary digit, that is 0 again. So now I'll consider zero point 0.8. I multiply this, so now the integer part is 1, so that is the binary equivalent, so it is 1 here. So I'll leave that 1. I'll consider only zero point 0.6 now, only fractional part I'll consider. Zero point 0.6 into 2, so if I do that, it turns out to be 1.2. Again I'll consider only the integer part and write it over here, and leaving that integer part, the fractional part is zero point 0.2 into 2. So if I do that, it turns out to be zero point 0.4, and I'll write the integer part, which is 0 here. I'll write 0 here. Next I'll consider zero point 0.4. Again I multiply this by 2. That turns out to be zero point 0.8. and the digit is 0. So if I keep on doing it, there is no chance that the fractional part turns out to be 0. It never turns out to be 0 in this case. So I'll stop this after few iterations. So I'll write this as its binary equivalent. So first I have this 10101 for 21. I'll write that 10101 point. So whatever I have here. So I'll start from the first and till the last one, till this point. So it is 0 0 0 1 1 0 0. It keeps growing, but well, I'll stop here. So this is the binary equivalent of a given fractional number. So the method is simple. First I'll consider 21, the integer part. I'll write its binary equivalent using the normal method. Then I'll take the fractional part, that is zero point 0.1. I'll multiply this successively by 2. So the result, whatever I get, I'll the integer part, whether it is 0 or 1, I'll write that. Then I'll take only the fractional. Welcome to NG Classes YouTube channel. In this video, we'll consider conversions from a given hexadecimal fraction to their decimal equivalent. To understand the process, what we do is we'll again take up an example. So let that be 3e point 4.
I'd like to take a moment here. Seems like I am done with the time. I was supposed to be completing my studies within 2 hours, but seems like I would need some extra time. So I will be adding more 45 minutes into it, and we will be studying till 9. So let's see if we can complete the study within 45 minutes, and I will be fastening up. How to tell it? I will be rapidly going through the lessons in order to complete it on time.
FC. So this is the given hexadecimal number and I want to write its decimal equivalent. To do that, what we do is I'll take up the first the integer part. So I'll write 3 and I'll write E over here. Then I have to write the decimal equivalent. 3 in hexa is nothing but 3 in decimal as well. E in hexa is nothing but 14 in hexa. Then I have to multiply these things with 16 to the power 0 and next digit by 16 to the power 1. And if there is any more digit, I'll continue with 16 to the power 2. So the process continues. So 16 to the power 0 is 1. 1 into 14 I have to do it, which turns out to be 14. Then 16 to the power 1 is 16 into 3. 16 3s are 48. So finally I have to add up these two stuff. 48 plus 14 turns out to be 62. So the integer part is 62. So I'll write here as 62 point. So I haven't considered the decimal, the fraction point yet, fractional number yet. So now I'll write 4, I'll write F, I'll write C. The way I have converted integer hexadecimal to its decimal. So similarly I'll write 4 in hexa is nothing but 4 in decimal as well. And F in hexa is nothing but 15 in decimal. Similarly C in hexa is nothing but 12 in decimal. Next, I'll write the positions. So here I have written 16 to the power 0. So now I'll write 4 into 16 to the power minus 1. Similarly, for this number, 15 into, I'll write it 16 to the power minus 2. For the third number, 12. For this, I'll multiply this with 16 to the power minus 3. So I have to multiply 4 into 15, 5, 5, 8, 5, 9. I said, so to add up all three numbers, 52.31152. So this is how we convert a given hexadecimal fractions to its decimal. Welcome to NG Classes YouTube channel. In this video, we'll consider conversions between decimal and binary numbers. So first, what we do is we'll do again. So write it. So to work out what I do is 0. So as 2 to the, this will be power 1. I consider 2 to 4. That means 6 plus 0. Welcome to NG Classes YouTube channel. In this video, we'll consider conversions between binary and hexadecimal numbers. In this section, I can convert a given binary number to its hexadecimal equivalent. Similarly, a given hexadecimal number to its binary equivalent. First, I'll consider binary to hexadecimal numbers. So I'll do the same thing. Binary to its hexadecimal equivalent. So while considering conversions from binary to hexadecimal numbers, first I'll explain this with the help of an example. So I'll write a binary number 1 1 1 1 1 5 ones 0 1 0 0. So this is the given binary number. So I want to write what is its hexadecimal equivalent. So here I write H. H stands for hexadecimal equivalent. So to do this, what we have to do is I have to group the numbers starting from LSB as 4 digits and keep on grouping it, then write its hexadecimal equivalent. The task is very simple. So first, starting from the LSB, I'll group them as 4 digits. For that, I'll write the number again, hexadecimal numbers. First, I'll explain this with the help of an example. So I'll write a binary number. Says the given stands for hexadecimal equivalent. The task is very simple. So first, starting from the LSB, I'll group them as 4 digits. For that, I'll write the number again. So it is 0, 0. To make it, so next task is to write its hexadecimal equivalent. 0, 1, 0, 0. Its hexa equivalent is 4. 1, 1, 1, 1, 4, 1. Its hexadecimal equivalent is, we know it is F. So this is 0, 0, 0, 1. Its hexa equivalent is 1. So ultimately we have to read all this together. So it is 1F4 is it. I'll consider an example. I'll write 3DEC. This is C, 3DEC. So this is the given binary equivalent is 1, 1, 0, 0. So I'll write everything considering 4 digits. So next E is the hexa number. Its binary equivalent is 1, 1, 1, 0. I'm left with 3. So its hexadecimal equivalent is 0. Its binary equivalent is 0, 0, 1, 1. So I have to read all these together. That becomes the binary equivalent. So first what I did is I considered the LSB bit. I considered C first, and I wrote its hexadecimal equivalent as a group of 4 digits. Next I considered E. I wrote its binary equivalent as a digit of 4 bits. Next I considered D. I wrote its binary equivalent. Lastly I considered 3, and I wrote its binary equivalent. Lastly I have to group them all together. 1, 0, 0. So this is the binary equivalent of the given hexadecimal number. So this is all about conversions between binary and hexadecimal numbers. Thanks for watching.
This series of tutorials is the summation of all the studies that
Welcome
I
to NC
was
Classes
doing.
YouTube channel. In this video, we'll consider
Really suggest you all, if anyone is watching, to take this series as a reference for the number systems chapter in the NCTB HSC level, NCTB class 11.
conversions from decimal fractions to binary. To understand the concept, what we do is we'll consider an example. We'll consider a decimal fraction, 21.1. So let this. So 21. If I want to convert this to its binary equivalent, so I'll divide this number successively by. So it's 2, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Next is I'll consider the number 0.1 fraction into 2. Like this. Next, I top 1, 0, 1 plus part. Then again, I keep on multiplying by 2 till I get the fractional part as 0. If it turns out to be 0, it's well and good. If not, after a few iterations, stop doing the process. So that must be the binary equivalent of a given decimal fraction. Thanks for watching. Welcome to NC Classes YouTube channel. In this video, we'll consider conversions from a given hexadecimal E over E. 1 into 14, I have to do it, which turns out to be 14. Then 16 to the power 1 is 16 into 3. 16 3s are, I'll write hexadecimal to its decimal. So similarly, I'll write 4 in hexadecimal, but 12 in decimal. Similarly, for this number, 15 into, I'll write it 16 to the power minus 2. For the third number, 12. For this, I'll 16. So into 16 to the power minus 2. 56. If I point 0, 0, 0, 0, 2, 9, 2, 9, 6. Welcome to NC Classes YouTube channel. In this video, we'll consider conversions from binary fractions to decimal. So we'll see how a given binary fraction is being converted into its equivalent decimal number. For that, what we do is we'll consider an example, binary fractions to be precise. So I'll write it as 1, 1, 0, 1, point 1, 0, 1, 1. So this is the given binary number, fractional binary number, and I want to write its decimal equivalent. So to do that, what we do is first I'll consider 1, 1, 0, 1. And I'll write its binary equivalent, decimal equivalent. Then I'll consider the fractional number. Then I'll write its decimal equivalent. So 1. So I'll multiply this number by 2 to the power 0. I know the procedure already. And I multiply this with 2 to the power 1. I multiply this digit with 2 to the power 2. And I get 18. So I'll consider 1. For these things, I'll write the positions. Minus 4. 5 into 2 to the power. Next things 6 to 5. 8. So I'll write so this. Thanks for watching. To understand this, what we do is we'll consider an example. So I'll write hexadecimal equivalent. I'll divide this number 160. It's considered feel that the process is not going to stop. If I the next the fractional part only left out for fractional part 0.6 again multiplied by 16, which turns out to be 9.6 again, and I'll write the integer part 9, and left out fractional part is 0.6 again, multiply this by 16, so which turns out to be 9.6. So if I keep on doing this, the integer is 9. It seems like it is endless, so I stop the process here and I write this as the hexadecimal equivalent starting from the first one, MSB 199. So 1020.1 in decimal, its equivalent hexadecimal is 3FC. This is the integer part. Point the fractional equivalent. The fractional equivalent is, it is 199 and 9. So I write 3FC.199 is the hexadecimal equivalent of a given decimal fraction. In this case, it is 1020.1. So this is how I convert a given decimal fraction to its hexadecimal equivalent. So I'll repeat the process. So if the given number is 1020.1, so first I'll look for only the integer part. I'll write its hexadecimal equivalent by successively dividing 16. So once the task is done, I'll take up the fractional part. In this case, it is 0.1. So I'll take 0.1 and I multiply this successively by 16 till I get the fractional part as 0. One case, or other way around. If it doesn't turn out to be 0, if it is endless, so I'll stop the process. I'll stop the iteration, and I'll say this is the hexadecimal equivalent. So that's all about converting a given decimal fraction into its hexadecimal equivalent. Thanks for watching. Hello everyone, welcome to NCTB's YouTube channel. In this video, we'll consider the concept of decimal to binary conversion. I would strongly recommend you to watch this video till end, so that you will learn the secret of how to convert a given decimal, any decimal, into its equivalent binary. So what is the secret? The secret would be successive division by 2. So say for example, the given number is 43, which is expressed in decimal, and we would like to know what is its equivalent in binary. So how do I do that? The best answer is consider that number 43, divide this successively by 2. So why I have to divide by 2? Because as I want to express this number into its equivalent binary, we know that all binary numbers are expressed in terms of zeros and ones only. Hence I need two numbers to represent, hence divide it successively by 2. So 43 gets divided by 2. So what is quotient? So it is 2 2s are 4 and 3 comes, 2 1s are 2. So what is the remainder? Remainder is 1. So I would write remainder something like this. So next is I consider 21. I divide this again successively by 2. So what happens if I divide by 2? So it is 2 10s are 20, and what is the remainder? Remainder is 1. So next I consider 10. Divide this again by 2. So what do I get? This is 2 5s are 10, and what is the remainder? It is 0. So next I consider 5, divide this again by 2. So if I divide 5 by 2, so what do I get? It is 2 2s are 4, and remainder is 1. And lastly, divide it again by 2. So what do I get? It is 2 1s are 2, and what would be the remainder? Remainder is 0. So at this point the process stops because I cannot divide 1 by 2. So stop the process at this point of time. So how do I write its equivalent? So read it this way. Ultimately, the equivalent of 43 in a decimal is equal to, in terms of its binary. So read it this way. This is 1 0 1 0 1 1. So this is what its equivalent in binary. So like this, any given number can be considered in decimal. Keep on successively dividing it by 2, and whatever the reminders you get it, read it this way. You will get its equivalent binary. That's it. This is the concept. Thanks for watching. Welcome to NG Classes YouTube channel. In this video, we'll consider the concept of decimal fractions to binary conversion. Under this, let the example be 19.275. So this is the decimal fraction. The task is to convert this number into its equivalent to binary. I would strongly recommend you to watch this video till end, so that we will explore the secret of the conversion from decimal fraction to binary, any given decimal fractions into its equivalent to binary. So first, the number, if I consider, it has two parts. One is its decimal, and next is the fractional part. So I need to convert both into its equivalent to binary. The best method would be, for integer part, I need to divide this successively by 2, and for the fractional part, I need to multiply this successively by 2. So that is the secret. That would be the secret. So how does it look like? That we'll see it now. So first, let me consider the number 19. I said I have to divide this successively by 2. So what happens if I divide this number successively by 2? So let's see that. So I'll take number and I'll divide by 2. I have to write the quotient and remainder. 2 9s are 18, and the remainder is 1. So I would write the remainder over here. So next I'll take 9 and divide this again by 2. Quotient is 2 4s are 8, and the remainder would be 1. Now if I divide 4 by 2, if I divide that, 2 2s are 4, remainder would be 0. Next divide 2 again by 2. Here it is 2 1s are 2, and remainder is 0. Can I divide 1 by 2? It is not possible. I have to stop the process here. So if the question is why only dividing by 2, because all the binary equivalent numbers, they are represented as 1s and 0s. So I need 2 digits. Hence I have to divide by 2. So if I want to read its binary equivalent, I have to read it this way. So that would be my binary equivalent of integer part, of a decimal part. So now let me consider 0.275. So I'll just write that as 0.275. I will consider this. I have to multiply this successively by 2. So if I multiply 0.275 into 2, so I'm going to get 0.55. I get 0.55. So whatever the number comes here at the decimal part, it is going to be equivalent of in binary, that is 0. So next what I do is I'll consider 0.55. I'll again multiply this by 2. So what I'm going to get now? I'm going to get 1.10. So what did I get at the decimal part? 1. So I'll consider that now. This would be its binary equivalent. So next I'll leave this one integer part. I'll consider only fractional part because I'm writing equivalent for fractional part. 0.10 into 2. So what do I get? 0.20. And what is its equivalent in binary? This integer part. This is 0. So next you consider 0.20, multiply this again by 2. So what I'm going to get now? Welcome to NG Classes YouTube channel. In this video, we'll consider the concept of converting a given decimal fractions into its octal equivalent. In this example, let the number be 239.563, which is expressed in decimal, and I would like to know what is its octal equivalent. I would recommend you to watch this video till the end, so that we'll learn how to convert any 239 and usual 0. At that point also I can stop. So now there is no pattern, and I'm not going to get.
Okay, so okay, so at this point, I think sorry. So at this point, I think the interconversion between number systems is quite clear to you guys. At least for me, it's clear. It's quite simple, not that complicated. If you guys still don't get it, you can refer to the playlist that I shared. Now we will go towards what do you say, binary arithmetics, which is nothing but binary addition and subtraction. And for the subtraction part, we will be using two's complement method, not the normal binary subtraction method. So let's go.
Hello everyone, welcome to NG Classes YouTube channel. In this video lecture, we shall consider the concept of subtraction using two's complement method with the help of an example. So without wasting much time, let's consider the example straight away. Here the example given is m is represented in binary format, which is 11010110, and we have got n, which is 01000101. So these are the two numbers. The task is to find its subtraction, that is m minus n using two's complement. So what is the method? So first I'll keep m as it is, then I represent minus n using two's complement method, then I would add it with m so that I would get the final answer. So what is the method? First represent n using two's complement representation. So what I do is, let me write the same thing, represent. So I'm going to represent n using two's complement method. Two's complement. Two's complement. What I have to do is first represent using one's complement and add 1 to it so that I will get the final answer. So I repeat those zeros with ones, and wherever I find ones, it is quite simple. I said it already. So wherever a zero is there, replace those zeros with ones, and wherever I find ones, replace those ones with zero. So that itself is one's complement. So I'm representing n using one's complement. First digit is 0. So now represent. Let me.
One thing that I wanted to note here is that you see in during the two's complement subtraction method, the first number we will have to match the number of bits it has with the number of bits the second number has. For example, here the the first number has 8 bits. So even though the second number has 7 bits, we will have to add 1 0 to match the number of bits, which is we just need to make sure that the first number and the second number has equal number of bits. If it does not have the equal number of bits, then we just need to add 0 until we have the equal number of bits. Quite simple.
Represent that digit with 1. Then I have 1, I would represent that with 0. Then I have got 3 zeros. Let me represent those with 3 ones. So let me write the same thing with 3 ones. Then I have 1, represent that with 0. Then I have 0, represent that with 1. And lastly I have 1, I would represent that with 0. So this is one's complement of n. I'm actually looking for two's complements. That is why I found one's complement first. Then I add 1 to it. So let me write add 1 to it so that I would get my final answer as two's complement. So what is going to happen? 0 plus 1 is 1, and rest of the digits remain as they are. This is 1, this is 0. Then I have got 3 ones. They would remain as they are. Then I have 0. Then I have 1. So whatever I have got now, this is going to be the two's complement of n. So this is going to be, let me write this, two's complement. So this is two's complement of n. So what I have to do now is I'll consider m and I would add that with n so that I would get the final answer. Let me write the same thing. Perform m minus n. So what is m? So let me write m as it is. So I'll just go up and check. M is 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 0. So same thing. 1 1 0. Then I have got 1 0 1 1 0. So is this correct? So let me go up and check. 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 0. Yes, that's correct. Then what I do is I consider two's complement of minus n representation. Two's complement is here. Here is the two's complement of minus n. So let me write that. This is 1. Then I have 0. Then I've got 3 ones. So let me write those 3 ones as they are. Then 0, 1 and 1. So to this I have to add, because I considered m as it is. Then I have represented minus n using two's representation. So what I do is I just add those things. 0 plus 1 is 1. So let me write 1 over here. Then I've got 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 is 2 in decimal. And if I represent that using the binary, it would be 1 0. So how do I write 1 0? I represent 0 over here and 1 as the carry. So this is how I add them. So again I've got 1 plus 0 is 1 and plus 1 it is 2. How do I represent 2? 1 0. 0 I would write here and 1 as the carry. So this is the method. Then I've got 0 plus 1, that is 1, plus 1, that is 2. So how do I represent 2? 0 over here with a carry 1. So that is how I'm going to represent. Then I've got 1 plus 1, that is 2, 2 plus 1, that is 3. So how do I represent 3 in decimal, that is in binary, is going to be 1 and 1. So let me write 1 over here and 1 as the carry. So now I've got 0 plus 1, that is 1, 1 plus 1, that is 2. So I'm going to write 0 with a carry 1. Next I've got 1 plus 0, 1 plus 1, that is 2. So I'm going to represent that 0 with a carry 1. Lastly, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. So I will represent 1 over here and 1 as the carry. So this one is going to be the carry. So what I have to do with carry? So I have to discard whatever the carry I have got. So discarding that, whatever I'm left with, this is going to be the final answer. And what if there is no carry? So that we shall consider it in the next example. If there is no carry, I have to take 2's complement of the final answer. So such cases we shall see it in the next video. So in this video lecture, what we have done, we have considered finding subtraction using 2's complement method. Here we had got m and n. The task is to perform m minus n. So how do I do that? So I consider minus n. I would represent that using 2's complement. So what is 2's complement? First find 1's complement, then add 1 to it, so that I would get 2's complement. So once I get the 2's complement of the second number, so consider the first number as it is m minus n. So I would consider the 2's complement which I had found it just now. So add these two things, and if there is a carry, discard that carry, and whatever I'm left with, this is going to be the final answer of m minus n. And if there is no carry, as I said, I have to take 2's complement of the final answer, and such things I shall consider it in the next video lecture. And if there are any doubt, please let me know them onto the comment section, and I'm happy to answer those doubts. Hello everyone, welcome to NG Classes YouTube channel. In this video lecture, we shall consider subtraction using 2's complement method with the help of an example. Here we have got m is equal to 110101110 and n is represented as 01000101. Both the numbers are represented in their binary formats. The task is to find, so let me write, find n minus m. In the previous video lecture, we had already considered finding m minus n. In this video lecture, let me consider finding n minus m. So what is n minus m? I have to perform this subtraction using 2's complement method. So first, I would retain n as it is. The next thing what I do is I consider minus m. I would represent minus m using 2's complement method. So what is 2's complement method? That we'll see it now. So first, let me write. Represent, the task is to represent minus m
One thing to note here is that the result will come a negative number because n is smaller than m. So n minus m will yield a negative number. Let's see how that works.
using, let me write the same thing using 2's complement method. 2's complement. Represent minus m using 2's complement method. We essentially use 2's complement method to represent negative numbers. So later, once I do this, I would add this with n so that I get the final answer of subtraction using 2's complement method. So first thing is how do I represent minus m using 2's complement method? 2's complement method is essentially 1's complement method plus 1 to it. So first represent minus m using 1's complement. 1's complement. So let me write the same thing, 1's complement of m. What is 1's complement? 1's complement is nothing but wherever I find zeros, replace them with ones, and wherever I find ones, replace those with zeros. So that is nothing but 1's complement. So let me consider m and find its 1's complement. Here I've got 1, 1. So I represent those with 0, 0. Then I have got 0. I would represent that with 1. Then I have got 1. That I would represent it with 0. Then I have got 0. I would represent that with 1. Then I've got 2 ones. I would represent those with the 2 zeros. Then a 0 being represented with 1. So this is 1's complement. To 1's complement, I have to add 1 so that I would get its 2's complement. So let me find that. 1 plus 1. What is 1 plus 1? 1 plus 1 is 2 in decimal. If I represent that in a binary, it is 1, 0. So here I would represent 0 here and 1 as the carry. Next, 0 plus 1 is 1. Then these digits remain as they are. So they are not going to change. So I would retain them as they are. So this is essentially 2's complement. So this is essentially whatever I got now is 2's complement of the number minus m. So once I get this, I have to add this with n. So let me do that. So first consider, I would say perform n minus m. So n, we already know it. So let me write that n again. This is 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. And then I have got 1, 0, 1. So this is n. To this, I have to add minus m because I already represented minus m using 2's complement method, which is this answer. This is 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. Then it is 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. Then I have got 0, 1, 0. So now I have to perform the addition of these two numbers, that is n and m, so that I would get my final answer. So 1 plus 0 is nothing but 1. Then I've got 0 plus 1, which is 1. Then I've got 1 plus 0 is 1. I've got 0 plus 1, that is also 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. And then I've got 0 plus 1, that is 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. So as there is no carry over here, so I have to essentially get a carry. If there is no carry, like this case, I have to find 2's complement of the answer. Get the 2's complement of the final answer. So that is the way to get the final answer and add a negative sign to that. What is 2's complement of the answer? So I would consider this. First I would find 1's complement, then add 1 to it. So let me first find 1's complement of this. So 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. 4 zeros I would get. To such thing I would add 1. And here I'm going to get the 2's complement finally. 0 plus 1, it is 1, 0, 0, 0. And then I've got 1, 0, 0, 1. And I said I have to add a negative sign to this. So finally, this is going to be my final answer of 2's complement method. I hope you people have understood. I have to add a negative sign to this. So finally, this is going to be my final 1, 0, 0, 1. And I said I have to add a negative sign to this. So finally, this is going to be my final answer of 2's complement method. I hope you people have understood. If there are any doubts, please let me know them on the comment section. And I'm
1 from this one and we'll get 0 as answer. To start with the rightmost column. So when you subtract 1 from 1, the answer is 0. Here you are trying to subtract this 0 from 1, but that cannot be possible. So now this digit is looking for the borrow. From where it can get borrow? From the next column. But now the next column is also 0. So next column is not capable to give borrow. So now what we'll do, now again we'll look for the borrow to the next column for this one. So next column is 1 and it is capable enough to give borrow. So we'll take borrow from this column to this column. So this will become 1 0 and this will become 0. Now this column is capable enough to give borrow to the previous column. Now this column will ask for borrow to this column and it will give borrow to this column. So it will become 1 0. Now initially this column was 1 0. It gave borrow 1 to the previous column. So now what's left over here? It's left with 1. Because 1 0 is 2. And out of 2 it gives 1 borrow to the previous column. What's left at that place? 1. So that is why we get 1 over here. And now we'll come to this column for the subtraction. So here when you try to subtract 1 from 1 0, you will get 1. Then we'll jump to the next column. Here we are going to subtract this 1 from this one and we'll get 0 as. Answer.
Welcome to Math with Mr. J.
Able to of different levels and line our decimal.
our line 10 goes these equivalent decimal. Now we're ready to subtract. So we start with 0 minus 3. So we're going to need to borrow.
Hi, welcome to Mathematics. In this video, we're going to learn how to do multi-digit subtraction. It's similar to doing multi-digit addition like we learned in our last video, but there's a few important differences. The main difference is, with subtraction, the order of the problem matters. With addition, you can switch the order of the numbers you're adding and you'll still get the same answer. 5 plus 2 equals 7, and 2 plus 5 equals 7. But with subtraction, if you have the problem 5 minus 2, you'll get 3. But you can't switch the problem around. You won't get the same answer if you try to do 2 minus 5 instead. In fact, you'll probably get confused because you'll be trying to subtract a bigger number from a smaller one. With multi-digit subtraction, it's important to remember that order matters, especially when you're rewriting your problem. Often you'll be given a problem like this, 38 minus 25, and you'll have to rewrite it with the numbers stacked up like we did with addition. But you have to make sure that the first number, the one you're taking from, goes on top, and the number you're taking away is on the bottom. Another hint is that the bigger number should always be on top. Okay, let's go ahead and try this problem. We've got 38 on top and 25 below it, and the ones places are lined up just like they should be. Now we draw our line so our answer can go below it, and we write a minus sign over here on the left to show that we're subtracting. Now we can start getting our answer, and just like with addition, we always start with the ones place column. Here we subtract the bottom number from the top. 8 minus 5 equals 3, so the 3 goes in the ones place of our answer. And our answer line and subtraction symbol in place. There. Now we can start subtracting. Uh-oh, look at this. In our ones place column, the digit on top is smaller than the digit on the bottom. How can we subtract a bigger digit from a smaller one? Did we make some kind of mistake? No, we wrote our problem correctly. The bigger number is on top. Sometimes this just happens. The top digit might be smaller than the bottom digit, so you can't subtract it, unless you borrow. Here's how borrowing works. The top digit is 5, but the digit below it wants to take 7 away.
Sorry, I don't have 7. I only have 5. Well, what about your neighbor? He's in a bigger number place. He's loaded, so you can just borrow from him. Excuse me, I've got a little problem. Do you happen to have something I could borrow?
Why, of course. Here you go. Great, that 1 will help. But if you just add 1 to 5, you'd get 6. But fortunately, this 1 came from the next number place, and it really represents a 10. And when we add 10 to 5, we get 15, which is big enough. Now, instead of this column being 5 minus 7, it's 15 minus 7. And 15 minus 7 equals 8. Okay, we've got the first digit of our answer. Now we can move on to the next column. But remember, we borrowed from that number place. It used to be a 3, but now it's a 2. It went down by 1 because we borrowed from it. Well, remember, we really borrowed 10 because it was in the next number place. But it's sometimes easier to just think of it as borrowing a 1 and getting to stick that 1 in front of the digit that needed to borrow. So in the tens place, we have 2 minus 2, which gives us 0 in our answer. And then our last column just has 1 minus nothing, or 1 minus 0, so that's still just 1. There, we've calculated that the difference between 135 and 27 is 108. All right, let's try another example with borrowing, or again, we start by subtracting the digits in the ones place column. Here we have 6 minus 8, and since 6 is too small to subtract 8 from, we'll need to borrow. We always borrow from the number place on the left. We'll borrow a 1, which is really a 10, and we'll write it in front of our borrowing digit, in this case 6, which gives us 16. And don't forget to make the digit we borrowed from smaller by 1. You can just cross it out and write the new smaller number above it, like this. Okay, now we can subtract from the first column. 16 minus 8 equals 8. Now for the tens place. Since we borrowed from this column, it's become 1 minus 5. But again, the top number's too small, so we'll have to borrow again. We borrow a 1 from the next number place over, which means that digit will change from a 4 to a 3. Then we put the 1 in front of the borrowing digit, which will make it 11. Now we can do the subtraction for that column. 11 minus 5 equals 6. And the last column's easy. We bring that leftover 3 down to the answer line because there's nothing there to subtract from it. And that means 368 is our answer. So now you know the basics of multi-digit subtraction. But before you move on to practicing with exercises, I want to show you one more important trick.
Guys, we have officially reached 150 views for the stream, which is really cool. But the problem is I am having a great headache. My fever is off the roof. The flu is starting to affect me. And also I am out of time. It's already 9. So maybe I will call it a day. Today was not quite success, but we are prepared for the exam. These were the stuff that we are supposed to do. So we are done with the binary arithmetics. and interconversion between number system, that one is done also. And the binary arithmetic, I have a little bit of confusion about the subtraction process, but we are not using the binary subtraction anyways. We are always using the 2's complement method for the binary subtraction. So I don't really think I really need to understand the I need to understand what am I saying. I need to understand what how the things are working. But as of now, it's okay. It's all right. I am prepared, and my headache is too much to control. So maybe I will call it a day today. So thank you for joining. 150 views. This is the first time I'm getting 150 views in the live stream, which is a great achievement in my end. It might not seem like that much for in compared to other channels, but for me it's the first time I'm reaching 150 mark. No, it's the first time I'm reaching 100 mark, let alone 150. So it's a big achievement for me today. Also, the stream is 2 hours and 45 minutes, but I was supposed to be studying for 3 hours. But as I am sick today, I will call it a day and end the stream now. Today was a great success actually. Not bad, not bad. Okay, so thank you and assalamu alaikum.